This is a quick video on how to build a hidden bed desk. Download the plans and follow along. For more detailed instructions, watch the videos listed in the video description. Stick around to the end for a coupon code to save $5 off the plans and some info on how we are supporting Khan Academy together. To begin with, I pre-finished all the panels that required finishing. This significantly sped up the build process. While the panels were drying, I used this time to make up some templates for the bed supports and the desk sides. I first made a cardboard template, which I then transferred to the plywood that will be used under the mattress. These templates were cut out using a jigsaw. I cut the slot out that will allow the bolt supporting the desk to slide. You can see here how the mechanism works. Next, I cut out the plywood that will go under the mattress. I also used some of the leftover plywood to make a straight edge that I will use to guide my circular saw when making straight cuts. Now that the finished panels are dry, the layout was transferred to the panels to prepare them to be cut out. I used a straight edge to draw the straight lines with a sharp pencil. I put tape on the bottom of my saws to prevent them from scratching the wood. I also used this straight edge to guide the saw to make a perfectly straight cut. When using a circular saw, it's best to cut with the finished side facing down whenever possible. This reduces blowout to the finished face. The bed assembly is next. I transferred the side support shape to the panels using a straight edge in the template I made earlier. With everything laid out, it's time to make the cuts. This first cut is for the desktop. I used a combination of the circular saw and the jigsaw to cut out the side supports. Notice that I gave myself some wiggle room with the jigsaw. I also cut out the supports for the desk at this time. I cut these out using a jigsaw, leaving about 1/8 of an inch of wiggle room. Using the template and a flush cut trim bit on my router, I trimmed the wiggle room off the parts. This part of the process is not necessary if you carefully cut with your jigsaw. I did the same thing with the side supports. To cut the groove in the supports to accommodate the plywood under the mattress, I use a 2x2 to space the groove in the plywood properly. Then using my router, I cut the groove into the side support. You can also do this with your circular saw and a chisel. Either way works fine. The chisel method is just a little more work. I group the 2x2s together to make trimming them to length go more easily and quickly. These are the outside panels of the bed frame. I glued a 2x2 to each side of the panels, then screwed the 2x2 to the panel using 1/2-inch screws and angle brackets. This is an important step as it will increase the rigidity of the structure. Be sure that you bridge the seam between the two panels with a 2x2 and glue and screw both panels. The back panel of the bed frame can be secured to the frame. Simply screw directly through the back of the panel into the adjacent 2x2. Each side support can be affixed using angle brackets with screws and spiral finishing nails into the adjacent 2x2. The plywood under the mattress is now fit into the grooves made earlier in the process, before the second support is put into place. Screw through each sheet of plywood into the 2x2s below every 12 inches. Now screw and nail the front panel into the assembly. Next, I assembled the desk. Using the template, I located the holes to be drilled. I drilled these holes using a Forstner bit, but a regular drill bit would work. This just may result in a bit of tear out of the wood. Tangent lines gave me a guide to follow with my jigsaw blade. The slot must be wide enough to let your bolt slide. I then glued the dado joints before nailing the desk sides into place using spiral finishing nails. The backsplash of the desk was nailed into the desk sides and screwed into the desk from below. The backsplash is important to keep the desk from sagging over time. Next, I glued the nosing to the front of the desk. Like the backsplash, this helps support the desk to keep it from sagging. These next steps will go over how I built the frame for the bed. I began by laying out the pieces using the back stretcher to scribe out the cut into the side support. I cut this rabbet out with my jigsaw. You can skip this step and just fix the stretcher to the side supports using angle brackets. I screwed the stretcher into place from the back. Next, I nailed the top panel onto the frame. Again, angle brackets could be used here. I measured for the location of the support hole and drilled out each side using the Forstner bit. Now to locate the hole in the bed frame. After starting the hole with a Forstner bit, I finished it with a spade bit. The supporting rod was inserted next before lifting the bed into the frame. Next, I measured the location of the holes for the desk supports. I saved this for last so I can ensure that the desk would be set to 30 inches from the floor. I wrestled the desk into place before inserting the bolts and securing the nuts. After a quick test, everything works great. At this point, you may be finished, but if you want a nice finished wood edge, you can spend the time gluing edge banding onto the nose of your plywood. This adds a lot of time to the build, but it helps the project look finished. These are some examples of things you may use as counterweights and help lifting your bed. Be sure when fixing your counterweights that you screw them into the 2x2 frame. I have about 50 pounds of weight on my bed at home. There are much more detailed build videos on my website and the How To Dad YouTube channel. If you have any questions about the build, please contact me through my website. For those interested in knowing what I do with the money generated from these plans, I like to find projects and causes to support. As an example, I recently donated proceeds of the plans to Khan Academy. Some of you may know that I have a degree in engineering, but if it wasn't for Khan Academy, that likely wouldn't be the case. Khan was first on YouTube, but has now grown into a vast website with deep reservoir of learning resources. It helps students with all sorts of subjects and is really worth supporting. So for the month of April 2020, I'll be donating half the money from the plans to support Khan Academy. Also, you'll receive $5 off the plans this month when you use the coupon code LAUNCH. So thanks for watching and supporting my project and many others.